Last week, the New York Times hired Sarah Jeong to be their lead technology writer. But hours after this announcement, old racist tweets resurfaced and went viral. There was immediate outrage and immediate calls for Jeong to be fired. But the New York Times did not fire her. They stood by their decision to keep her on as a writer. Now, this was not the first time that the New York Times was in a position like this. A few months ago, they hired Quinn Norton for a very similar lead technology writing role. But unlike Sarah, Quinn was fired. And for what? For the same thing, for offensive tweets. What's the difference between Quinn and Sarah here? Quinn spent much of her career working very closely with groups like Anonymous or the Occupy movement, fringe online communities. So it's not any wonder that she picked up some of their language. She would use words like fag and retard. She became friends with some interesting characters. None of this is very strange or out of the ordinary. And yet, Quinn lasted 7 hours at the New York Times before she was fired. Sarah is still gainfully employed there. So obviously, whatever Quinn did must be much worse than what Sarah did, right? Or maybe Sarah is just a way better writer than Quinn is, right? No, not right. Quinn is 15 years older, she's a much more seasoned journalist than Sarah, and her tweets were way better than the tweets that Sarah made. Check out some of Sarah's tweets. Among other things, Sarah said, "Oh man, it's kind of sick how much joy I get out of being cruel to old white man. Hashtag cancel white people. Dumbass fucking white people marking up the internet with their opinions like dogs pissing on fire hydrants. Are white people only fit to live underground like groveling goblins? They have stopped breeding. You'll all go extinct soon." So Quinn tweets a few bad words out of context and gets immediately fired. Sarah repeatedly spews racist garbage for over years, and she still gets to keep her job. In fact, the Times issued a full-throated apology of Sarah. They said, "Oh, these were taken out of context. These were years ago. She was just responding to other trolls on the internet." But all of these same things could have been said about Quinn. So what is the difference between these two women? Why does Quinn get fired while Sarah gets to keep her job? There are a few differences between these two women. Sarah is Asian, Quinn is white. Sarah was racist to white people. Quinn had befriended some white supremacists. Now, for a lot of people, probably a lot of people at the Times, the first offense, being racist to white people, isn't even racist at all. It isn't even offensive. Maybe the white people deserve it. But Quinn's even association with white supremacists, sending occasional messages, occasional tweets, that is an unforgivable offense. If you had to decide whether to keep Sarah Jeong or to keep Quinn Norton, the choice is obvious. They should keep Quinn Norton and fire Sarah Jeong. But they reached the exact opposite decision. Why? They applied a double standard, and if the New York Times wants even a shred of credibility, they need to make a choice. They must either fire Sarah Jeong and stay consistent, or issue an apology to Quinn Norton and say that they were wrong, but they can't have it both ways. The New York Times must either live by their own standard where they fire people for past tweets, or they must set a new standard where people are forgiven for being young and stupid online. But right now, the New York Times seems to be making a decision based on one litmus test. Do you adhere to our leftist ideology, or do you not? As long as somebody agrees with their leftist ideology, they could say whatever offensive stuff they want on the internet. But if somebody disagrees, they could get fired within 7 hours. We have a petition going right now to get the New York Times to make a choice, either fire Sarah Jeong or apologize to Quinn Norton. But either way, this double standard has to end. Now, a few months ago, this was not the first time that the New York Times was in a position. I'm gonna get a drink.